students, welcome to my live teaching learning session of Indian Economy BECE 146. Today's topic is industrial growth and policy. In previous sessions, we have completed agriculture sector, agriculture policy, green revolution, role of agriculture sector in Indian economy, and what are the various causes of low productivity in agriculture sector, and how we can improve agricultural productivity with the help of new modern technologies or advanced technologies, and with the help of this green revolution definitely help us in solving the problem of agriculture productivity, which was very less at the time of independence, but now India has become self-sufficient in food grains. So that was agriculture sector, but now today we will discuss about industrial growth and policies. Industrial growth. Industrial growth is considered in secondary sector because we know that there are three types of sectors in an economy. One is primary sector, second is secondary sector, and third is tertiary sector. Primary sector is related with agriculture and its allied activities. Secondary sector is known as manufacturing sector, in which all types of industries are included, like small scale industry, cottage industry, medium sized industry, large scale industries. And industry is that sector which convert raw material into finished goods. Industrial sector and industrial growth is very necessary for the development of the country. Without industrial growth, we can't achieve high growth rate of economic development. So industrial growth, it depends upon so many factors, and what strategy India followed after independence for the growth in industrial sector, and how many policies in India made by the government for the improvement in industrial sector. We will discuss about all the policies of industrial sector, and what are the various phases of industrial development in different time period. All things we will discuss in today's session. So industrial policy of India, mainly industrial policy was firstly launched just after independence in 1948. After that, second industrial policy was launched by the government at the time period of 1956. Next industrial policy was launched in 1977. Next was launched in 1980. After that, 1990. And at present, 1991, industrial policy is going on. So 1991 industrial policy is called New Industrial Policy. All these industrial policy was made by the government to emphasize only or focuses on only industrial sector, not on any other sector. So industrial policy is very necessary for the development of the industrial sector. Now, overview of this chapter is, we will firstly do introduction, what is industrial policy, industrial growth, then meaning of industrial policy, then we will discuss about industrial policies which was made by the government during the period of 1948 to 1991, then positive and negative impact of industrial policies. This is the overview of today's session topic. Next is introduction. Industrial policy of any country reflects the growth and development of that country. Industrial policy is a well planned strategy for the growth and development of that particular sector. If we made agriculture policy, that mainly focuses on agriculture sector. If we made industrial policy, that will mainly focus on industrial sector. So different policies made by the government to mainly focus on that particular sector for the growth and development of that particular sector. So industrial policy of any country reflects the growth and development of that country. The term industrial policy refers to all objectives, principles, rules, regulations, and procedures concerning the industrial development, location, and functioning of industrial establishment, ownership pattern of industrial sector, and rate of growth of industries in the country. So all these things are included in industrial policy. Industrial policy is the combination of all rules and regulations set by the government, all procedures, objectives, all industrial development issues, location, functioning of industrial establishment, ownership pattern. Ownership pattern tells us that industry is a public sector industry or private sector industry, and rate of growth of industries in the country. So industrial policy is that policy, we can say in simple words, which mainly focuses on industrial sector for the growth and development of all industrial units. It may be small, it may be cottage, it may be middle or medium size industry or large scale industry. All types of industries, growth and development depends upon industrial policy. So industrial policy play very important role for the growth and development of industrial sector. Next is background. Planning and industrial policy evolution highly intertwined. It means background tells us that what is the background or previous history of industrial development in Indian economy. So planning and industrial policy evolution highly intertwined. Objectives of industrial policy articulated in the Industrial Policy Resolution of 1948 and 1956. Because India got independence or freedom at the time period of 1947, 15th August 1947, and just at the time of independence, Indian economy was stagnant economy, Indian economy was backward economy, Indian economy was underdeveloped economy, and larger proportion of the population mainly depends upon agriculture sector. At that time, industrial growth was very weak or very low rate of growth in industrial sector. That's why just after independence, at the time period of 1948, Indian government launched first industrial policy resolution, and after that, during the second five-year plan period, 1956 industrial policy was launched. So specific priorities and strategies spelled out in successive 5 years plans to be implemented by a system of licensing provided for by the Industries Development and Regulation Act of 1951, and a system of import licensing and foreign trade policies meant to promote import substitution industrialization. This is called ISI. ISI is the strategy or import substitution uh, industrialization strategy, which was very important for the Indian economy, because if we follow this import substituting industrialization policy, then we can improve our industrial sector and produce more and more goods in industrial units, so that our imports can reduce and exports can rise, because if we do more exports and if we do less imports, then our balance of payment will remain favorable. Licensing ensured realization of physical targets for capacity set by the plan. Trade policy sought to promote domestic industrialization by physical allocation of imports by products. So this is the background of industrial policy resolution which was made by the government in different time periods. Next is pre-liberalization. We can split industrial growth in different time periods, like pre-liberalization or pre-reform period is known as 1947 to 1990. Time period is known as pre-liberalization period or pre-reform period. And after 1991, time period is known as post-reform period or post-liberalization period. So first industrial policy was launched in 1948. 1948 industrial policy is the first industrial policy resolution of independent India. Its main aim was protectionist policy. It means it gave mainly protection to domestic industries. And government mainly established all the industrial unit in public sector. And large public sector was exist at that time. Otherwise, Indian economy is a mixed economy in which public sector and private sector both are coexist in it. But just after independence, India followed mixed economy strategy, but mainly focuses on public sector units and mainly emphasized all public sector industries. At that time, the role of public sector was more than the role of private sector. But after adopting new industrial policy or new economic policy, that time period is known as post-reform period of 1991. At that time, government changed this pattern and government disinvest, followed disinvestment, and through this disinvestment policy, government mainly emphasized private sectors and privatization, and public sector units at present are decreasing and private sector units are increasing. At present, all the industrial units which was mainly run in public sector at the time period of pre-reform period, but at present all those industries are working in private sectors. So first industrial policy resolution which was made by the government in independent India, that policy resolution was based on protectionist policy, large public sector, emphasis on business regulation and central planning. After that, 1956 industrial policy was launched. That was the base of all the industrial policies. After that, 1973 industrial policy was launched, which gave mainly high priority industries identified where institutional and foreign investment was allowed. After that, 1977 industrial policy was launched, that was mainly based on concentrated on decentralization. It means industries should not be concentrated only in urban areas. Industries should be decentralized and we should open or establish industrial units in all areas, either it may be rural area or urban area or any regional areas, so that regional disparities should be removed. So concentrate 1977 industrial policy mainly concentrated on decentralization, emphasize on the small scale industries, tiny and cottage industries. Then 1980 industrial policy was launched, which mainly emphasized on promoting competition in the domestic market, technological upgradation, and modernization. In 1991, that time period is post-liberalization or post-reform period. That policy is called new industrial policy or new economic policy. This policy mainly followed liberalization or economic liberalization was initiated at that time. Reforms to correct prior policy decisions. They reduced tariffs is import duties or import taxes, and interest rate, abolished licensing Raj system or permit Raj system, ended several public monopolies, and MRTP Act was abolished. MRTP Act is known as Monopolistic Restrictive Trade Practices Act, which was made by the government at the time period of 1969, but during the policy of 1991, this act was abolished. And FDI was promoted in new industrial policy, and there there was the allowed by the government automatic approval of FDI in many sectors to correct prior policy decisions. Then 2011 onwards, announcement of National Manufacturing Policy. This policy is a roadmap to create 100 million new jobs in manufacturing sector and promote its GDP contribution to more than 25% by 2022. Emphasizes on making business operations in the country easier by simplification of business regulations and friendly trade and investment policy. A focused move to improve infrastructure and gradual technology development, including green technologies. So this is the main policy reforms of all industrial policies which was made during the period of pre-reform period, and the new industrial policy which was launched by the government after 1991. So that is called post-liberalization period. Next is industrial policy. Industrial policy mainly covers all rules and regulations, principles, policies and procedures laid down by government for regulating and controlling industrial undertaking in the country. It prescribes the respective roles of the public, private, joint, cooperative, large, medium, and small scale sectors for the development of industries. It incorporates fiscal and monetary policies, tariff policy, and labor policy. Fiscal policy is that policy which is made by the government to regulate public expenditures, public revenue, public debt, and budget. Monetary policy is made by Reserve Bank of India to control money supply and to control the rate of interest so that inflation and deflation problem can be solved. And tariff policy is that policy which impose heavy taxes on imports and less duties on exports so that exports can increase and imports can decrease. Then balance of payment will remain favorable. And labor policy is that policy which provides benefits and minimum wages to the laborers so that labor can work efficiently in all industrial units and to give more and more contribution for the production of industrial products. So all these policies, industrial policy incorporate all policies like fiscal policy, monetary policy, labor policy, and tariff policy. It shows the government attitude, especially towards public and private sectors. So this is industrial policy, which sets all the rules, regulations, principles, policies, procedures led by the government to regulate and controlling industrial undertakings in the country. Now, industrial policy was firstly launched in 1948, but the base of all those policies like 1977 industrial policy, 1980 industrial policy, 1990 industrial policy, and 1991 industrial policy. The main base of all those policies which made by the government after 1956, the base of those policies was 1956 industrial policy resolution. So, Industrial Policy Resolution 1956 and 1991 is most important. So, objectives of this Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956 was number one is improvement in employment opportunities, living standard, and working conditions for the mass of the country people. Next is reduction in income and wealth disparities or reduction in income inequalities in between of rich and poor people. And third main goal of this resolution was prevention of private enterprises or private monopolies and concentration of economic power in different fields in the hands of small numbers of individuals. That's why 1956 industrial policy mainly emphasized public sector industries and gave uh, less power to private sectors. That's why we can say that this policy was mainly gives prevention of private monopolies and concentration of economic power in different fields in the hands of small numbers of individuals. Next is objectives of industrial policy was number one is accelerating the overall rate of growth through industrialization. Why industrial policy mainly made by the government? What are the main objectives behind this industrial policy? There are so many objectives of this industrial policy. Either it may be 1948 industrial policy, 1956 industrial policy, 1977 industrial policy, or 1980, 90, or 91 industrial policy. All those industrial policy has some objectives, but the main objective of industrial policy is number one is accelerating the overall rate of growth through industrialization. Second is expanding the industrial base in relation to industrialization needs of the country. And third is generating employment and reducing poverty. We know that employment and poverty, unemployment and poverty both are twins problem. So if we want to remove unemployment problem or poverty problem, then we should increase industrialization growth. So if we increase the growth in industrial sector, then we can generate more employment opportunities. And if we generate more employment opportunities, then poverty level can reduce from our country. Fourth target is preventing monopolies and concentration of industrial power. Fifth main objective of industrial policy is creating competitive conditions or competitive environment and encouraging the growth of entrepreneurship. Sixth main target of this industrial policy is promoting balanced industrial development for the balanced regional growth. If we want to reduce regional disparities, if we want to reduce concentration of economic power, and if we want to reduce concentration of industrial sector, then we must follow decentralization policy. We must follow uh, decentralization, and we should remove monopolies power, and we should abolish monopolistic restrictive trade practices act. So promoting balanced industrial development, we should increase the industrial sector units in all those sectors, either it may be rural or urban or any regional sectors, then we can reduce regional disparity if we follow decentralization of industrialization. Next is seventh point is promoting linkages with other sectors of the economy. Next eighth point is assisting small enterprises. We should promote large scale industries as well as small scale industries, because small scale industries are called helping industries. Small scale industries are those industries which provide raw material and which provide parts of those big industrial units which are very necessary to make. If we want to make TV, then TV needs some small parts of that particular thing. So all those small things or small parts of large industrial sector units provided by small sectors. So assisting small enterprises, because without the help of small scale industries or small industrial units, we can't produce heavy products, or heavy industrial units can't grow. Next is encouraging the growth of industrial research and development. So these 9 points are the main objectives of industrial policy. Next is major objective of industrial policy in India is, the major objective of industrial policies are, one is rapid industrial development, second is balanced regional structure, third is prevention of concentration of economic power, and next is balanced regional growth. These 4 points are mainly the major objectives of industrial policy. Next is industrial policies are different policies which was launched by the government according to the different time periods. First industrial policy resolution made in 1948, then 1956 industrial policy resolution was launched, then 1973, then 1977. After that 1980 industrial policy resolution was passed or launched, and new industrial policy of 1991. Next is industrial policy resolution of 1948. What is the industrial policy resolution of 1948 and what it tells us? It tells us about it is the main outline, the approach to industrial growth and development. It mainly emphasized the importance of securing a continuous increase in production and ensuring its equitable distribution. 1948 industrial policy resolution was made by the government just after independence for the development of the industrial sector, because on the eve of independence, Indian economy was basically depends upon agriculture sector, and it was predominant on agriculture sector. At that time industrial growth was very low, and very less industrial units was running in public sector only. So industrial policy mainly focused on the development of industrial units. So 1948 industrial policy resolution mainly emphasized the importance of securing a continuous increase in production in industrial sector and ensuring its equitable distribution. Next is Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956. What it tells us? It was shaped by the Mahalanobis model of growth. First of all, you must have to know about 1956 time period is the second 5-year time period, because first 5-year plan period was 1951 to 56. That plan was basically emphasized on agriculture sector and based on agricultural development. But the second 5-year plan, which was launched in 1956 to 1961 time period, in this time period, Mahalanobis mainly emphasized the growth of industrial sector units, and it was shaped by the Mahalanobis growth model, which suggested that emphasis on heavy industries, capital goods industries, that would lead the economy towards long-term higher growth path. The Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956 classified industries into three categories. In first category, 17 industries were kept, and 17 industries that was mainly the under the hands of government, exclusively under the domain of the government, and these include in a inter alia railways, transport, air transport, arms and ammunition, iron and steel, and atomic energy, etc. And after that, in category B, 12 industries were kept, which were envisaged to be progressive, straight, and owned by private sector, but expected to supplement the efforts of the state. And in third category contained all the remaining industries, and it was expected that private sector would initiate development of these industries, but they would remain open for the state as well. So this is the main categorization of industrial sector units in three categories, which was made by the government during the planning period of 1956 to 61 second five-year plan, and in industrial policy resolution of 1956. So in first category, 17 industries were kept by the government, which was mainly owned by the public sector. After that, in second category, 12 industries were kept, and in third category, remaining all industries are taken, and it was expected that private sector would initiate, but government can undertake those industries at any time without the permission of any other thing or any other institution. This was the Industrial Policy Resolution of 1956. Next is Industrial Policy Resolution of 1973. It provided for a closer interaction between the agriculture and industrial sectors, accorded the highest priority to the generation and transmission of power. An exhaustive analysis of industrial products was made to identify products which are capable of being produced in the small scale sector. Third is the list of industries exclusively reserved for small scale sector was expanded from 180 items to more than 500 items. Within the small scale industries, a tiny sector also defined with investment in machinery and equipment up to rupees 1 lakh, and situated in towns within a population of less than 50,000 according to 1971 population census, and in villages. And special legislation to protect cottage and household industries was also proposed to be introduced. So 1973 Industrial Policy Resolution mainly emphasized small scale industries and mainly focuses on the role of small scale industrial units, which give greater contribution in generating employment opportunities and in exports also, and it provides uh, parts and small things to all large scale industries. So small scale industries are called helping industries to big industries, and the investment limit of small scale industries and cottage industries and other medium sized industries was also fixed during this industrial policy resolution of 1973. Next is industrial policies of 1977. It mainly emphasized on small scale, cottage, medium sized industry against big industrial houses and multinationals. It emphasized on decentralization of industries, because if we mainly focus on small scale industry, cottage industry, tiny industries, medium sized industry, then we can follow this decentralization target, because if we want to achieve uh, equal growth And if we want to reduce inequalities in between of different states, and if we want to reduce regional disparities, then decentralization of industry is very necessary. And how we can do this decentralization of industry? We should open industrial units in all areas of rural and urban, and small scale industries are and cottage industries are mainly established in rural areas or regional areas where large scale industries don't want to establish their units in rural area. Then we can increase small scale units in rural area, then decentralization of industrial target we can achieve. So policy based on development of background industrial areas, and this policy of 1977 mainly focuses on district industrial centers were created to execute the industrial policy of 1977. After that, in 1991, industrial policy was launched. 1980 industrial policy was also launched, but that was basically based on 1977 policy. It was not very. It was not very new policy of or don't. It did not add any new other things. That's why 1980 policy was not too much important or don't play very good role or important role in economy. But the 1991 industrial policy and 1956 industrial policy is very important, because 1956 industrial policy is the base of all those industrial policy resolutions, and 1991 industrial policy at present we are following. So, in pursuit of the above objectives, government have decided to take a series of initiatives in respect of the policies relating to the following areas. Number one is industrial licensing system. Second is foreign investment. Third is foreign technology agreements. Next is public sector policy. And next is MRTP. MRTP Act is Monopolistic Restrictive Trade Practices Act. Next is features of the new industrial policies. What are the main features of new industrial policy? New industrial policy is 1991 industrial policy. 1991 industrial policy is very good policy because it mainly emphasized on all industries, either it may be small scale industry, cottage industry, large scale industry, medium sized industry, and it fixed the investment limit of small scale industries, cottage industry, and tiny industries, and it has raised the limit of these industries also. So, first of all, industrial licensing policy, in a major move to liberalize the economy, the new industrial policy abolished all industrial licensing system, irrespective of the level of investment, except for except for a short list of 18 industries related to the security and strategic concerns, social reasons, hazardous chemicals, and overriding environmental reasons, and items of elitist consumption. At present, only 5 industries are kept in industrial licensing system. It means initially it was necessary for taking license for making industrial units, but at that time the list of 18 industries was reserved for taking industrial licensing system. But at present, this limit has reduced from 18 to 5 only. At present, only some specific industries must take license to establish their units, like hazardous chemicals, drugs and pharmaceuticals, cigarette and alcoholic drinks, and atomic or nuclear power, and explosive or hazardous chemicals. So all these things need licensing, but except these industries, other industries don't need any type of license to establish their units. Next is policy on public sector. At the time period of 1956 Industrial Policy Resolution, the government had reserved 17 industries for the public sector, but in 1991 industrial policy, this number reduced from 17 to 8, but at present the or number reduced from 17 to only at present 3 industries are kept in public sector. Otherwise, all industries are running in private sectors. And government mainly focused on privatization because when new industrial policy and new economic policy was launched, government followed LPG. L is liberalization, P is privatization, and G is globalization. So, under this policy of LPG, government mainly emphasizing private sectors and the role of public sector is going to reduce. Next is features of new industrial policy. New industrial policy mainly de-reservation of public sector. It means the number of industries which were reserved only for public sector units that was reduced to 17 to 8 or 3, but at present only 2 industries are reserved for public sector, that is atomic energy and railways. Next is delicensing system. The most important feature of new economic industrial policy of 1991 was the abolition of industrial licensing system of all industries except 6 industries. And these 6 industries are of social and strategic concerns. In this, hazardous chemicals, alcohol, cigarettes, industrial explosive, defense products, and drugs and pharmaceuticals are included. If you want to start these types of businesses or industrial unit, if you want to establish, then you must need license. But except these 6 industries, you don't need any type of license or permit. You don't need permit. Next is disinvestment of public sector. This new industrial policy of 1991 permitted disinvestment of public sector units. Disinvestment is a process of selling government securities or equity in private sector units, public sector units in favor of private parties. So disinvestment aim at certain objectives. One is to provide better customer services. Second is to make effective use of disinvestment funds. Third is to overcome the problem of political interference and to enable the government to concentrate on social development. So these are the main objectives of adopting this disinvestment policy, and disinvestment generally means the selling of government securities or equity in favor of private sector. And its main aim is to provide better customer services. At present, privatization is increasing and government is reducing their role and increasing the role of private sectors because private sector work efficiently and private sector provide better customer services and private sectors can use efficient uh, allocation of can allocate all the resources efficiently and use efficiently all the available resources in such a manner so that industrial product can increase. And if we want to reduce political interference and political instability, due to this political instability and the delay in decisions in public sector, all these are the loopholes of public sector. That's why public sector can't could not earn maximum profit. That's why government mainly emphasized the role of private sectors, and privatization was increased at the time period of new industrial policy to enable the government to concentrate on social development, not in any other field. Next is MRTP Act. What is MRTP Act? MRTP Act is Monopolistic Restrictive Trade Practices Act. This act was made by the government at the time period of 1969, but in new industrial policy of 1991, this act was abolished. Mainly, this act has been amended to remove the threshold limit of assets in respect of MRTP companies and dominant undertakings. Now, the government will undertake review of the existing public enterprises in low technology, small scale, and non-strategic areas. SIC units will be referred to the Board for Industrial and Financial Reconstruction for advice about rehabilitation and reconstruction. This MRTP Act mainly made by the government in 1969 to control the private sector units and to increase the public sector enterprises and to control the concentration of economic power. That's why government has fixed the limit of investment nearly about 100 crore rupees. If any industry invest 100 crore rupees in their business enterprises, then that industry can't increase the investment limit uh, rega- investment limit of 100 crore and more than that, because if any industry put more investment in their business enterprises, then economic power can be concentrated in that particular industry. That's why government made this MRTP Act, but this act now has been abolished, because at present any industry, if any industry has power to invest billions of dollars in any large scale industries, then uh, that industry can invest. It means government at present not putting any restriction of investment. Government is promoting all industrial units or all big corporate sectors to encourage investment in business enterprises. Government want to increase investment level in business units. That's why this act has been abolished. Now next is liberalization of foreign investment. Liberalization of foreign investment, this also mainly launched by the government in 1991 industrial policy. Government is very liberalized at present uh, in respect of foreign investment. Significant modification done, as it will bring advantages of technology transfer, marketing expertise, introduction of modern managerial techniques, and new possibilities for promotion of exports. At present, foreign direct investment limit increased by the government, which was earlier 49%, but now it is 51%. It means foreigners can invest their 51% capital in our country. It means more than half of the investment can made by the foreigners, and rest of the investment made by our domestic industrialist. And for some specific industry, this limit is 74%, and for other some specific units, government has increased this limit from 74% to 100%, because the government want to promote more and more FDI and to increase the industrial sector units in our country. That's why government give approval for FDI up to 50% in high priority industries requiring large investment and advanced technologies. will be provided. Since 92-93, the Indian stock market is open for investment by foreign institutional investors, and Indian companies satisfying certain conditions may access foreign capital market by euro issues. So at present, FDI limit category is three. One is 51%, other is 74%, and next is 100%. It means for some industries, in general way, 51% FDI is permitted, and for some specific industry, 74% FDI is permitted, and for some other industries like in education sector, in hotel and management, in tourism, in electricity generation, 100% FDI is permitted by an automatic route without taking any approval from the government. It means at present government has liberalized this foreign direct investment sector, and this limit also raised from 49% to 51%. Now, next is evaluation of this new industrial policy. Now we can evaluate how much this new industrial policy gave positive impacts to our country, and what are the negative impact of this policy. So all positive and negative impact of this industrial policy, if we study about this, that is called evaluation of this new industrial policy. This policy has been criticized on the following grounds. Trade union oppose it due to fear of unemployment which may arise due to privatization. Because in 1991 industrial policy, government mainly emphasized privatization sector or private sector units and reduced the role of public sector enterprises. Public sector enterprises provide more employment opportunities, but in private sector units, mainly all things or all work done by machines. If we use more capital intensive technology, then labor intensive technology will reduce, and the problem of unemployment will occur in our country. So this is the main threat of this new industrial policy, that unemployment will increase in our country. We know that India is second most largest populated country in the world after China, and if we use more capital intensive technologies, then labor will be unemployed. So trade union oppose this new industrial policy due to the fear of unemployment which may arise due to privatization. Next is monopolies and concentration or of economic power is likely to increase. And this logic is really true, because at present all the big corporate sectors are concentrating the economic power in their hands only. At present, inequalities of income and wealth and the gap between rich and poor has widened, not lower down, not go down, it is increasing. It means the main focus of this industrial policy was to remove regional disparity, to reduce inequalities of income and wealth. But instead of reducing this inequalities of income and wealth, it is promoting increasing the concentration of economic power. So we can say that this new industrial policy increasing the monopolies and concentration of economic power is going to increase. Third is government is silent about tackling the growing industrial sickness. Some industry, some industrial units are sick. Sick units are those units which are not earning profit, which are going in losses or bearing losses. That industry is called sick industry. So government is silent about tackling the growing industrial sickness. It will lead to domination of multinational corporations on the Indian economy. If we are increasing the role of foreign direct investment, it means we are promoting multinational corporations. If all industrial units are run by multinational corporations or foreigners, then our domestic industrial players will fail to compete with foreign industrial players. Threat from foreign competition due to cheaper imports. These are the negative impact of this new industrial policy. Otherwise, it has some positive impacts also. It increases the industrial growth and development in our nation, and it also provide more industrial products to country people, and in growing population, it provides us more and more industrial products. So this is the evaluation of the new industrial policy. Next is industrial growth. We can classify industrial growth in different time periods. The first time period or first phase is known as 1951 to 65 time period. In this time period, building up of strong industrial base. The first phase of industrial growth broadly consists of the first 3 5-year plans, which had built a strong industrial base in India. Phase 1 laid the basis for industrial development in the future. The second plan, which is known as Mahalanobis model, emphasized the development of heavy industries and capital goods industries and basic industries. Accordingly, huge investment were made in industries of iron and steel, heavy engineering, and machine building industries. At the time period of 1951 to 65, the industrial growth was in 5.7% in first plan and 7.2% in second 5-year plan and 9% in third plan. It means basically the main growth lies in between of 5.7 to 9% in range of this during the time period of 1951 to 65, that is known as phase 1 of industrial growth. Next phase is 1965 to 1980. This phase was known as industrial declaration and structural retrogression. The second phase of industrial growth broadly covers the period of 3 annual plans, the fourth plan and the fifth plan. The period from 1965 to 76 was marked by a sharp declaration in industrial growth, and growth fell down from 9% to 4.1% per annum during the period of 1976. The last year of phase second, 1979 to 80, recorded a negative rate of growth of industrial production minus 1.6% over the preceding year. So we can say that 1965 to 1980 time period was that time period at which industrial growth was decreasing rather than increasing. Third phase is known as 1981 to 1991. This period of industrial recovery time period, the third phase of industrial growth in India covers the entire period of 1980s, consisting of both the sixth and seventh plan. This period of 1980s can broadly be termed as a period of industrial recovery. During this phase, industrial units mainly produced consumer durable products and had recorded a considerable growth in its output. Next is role and problems of industrial development in India. There are some main problems which are related with industrial sector units. For a predominantly agriculture country, development of industries is must. Industry play very important role in rapid growth of Indian economy. Goods produced with 4 factors of production like land, labor, capital and entrepreneur. And it provides means of production like machines, chemical, fertilizers to agriculture. Next is Competition Act. Competition Act of 2002 was enacted by the Parliament of India and governs Indian competition law. It replaced the RCA, the Monopolies and Restrictive Act of 1969. At present, this Competition Act is going on, and at present all the industries are working in this Competition Act of 2002. Next is Competition Commission of India eliminate practices adverse to competition. It ensures freedom of trade in the market, it promotes and sustain competition, it protects the interest of consumers. Next is conclusion. Industrial policies definitely, and it really helps in the growth of industrial sector units. And industrial policies are very necessary for the development and growth of the Indian economy and the growth and development of the industrial sector. Thank you.